Jake Morrison was what people called a nice guy. Too nice, actually. The kind of guy who couldn't say no to anyone, who apologized when other people bumped into him, who would rather suffer in silence than create conflict. At 32, Jake worked as a mid-level manager at a tech company in Austin. He was decent-looking, brown hair, warm smile, the kind of face you'd trust. And that was his problem. Everyone trusted Jake. Everyone relied on Jake. And Jake couldn't let anyone down. Except he was about to let down two women in the most spectacular way possible. Amanda Chen was Jake's college sweetheart. They'd dated for 3 years at UT Austin, broken up after graduation when Amanda got a job in New York, and reconnected 5 years later when she moved back to Texas. Amanda was type A, organized, ambitious, detail-oriented. She worked in corporate law and approached their relationship like a project with clear milestones. Date for 2 years, get engaged, plan wedding for exactly 18 months out, married by 30, first kid by 32. Jake proposed because it felt like the next logical step. Amanda had already picked out the ring she wanted. She'd sent him the link. All he had to do was buy it and get down on one knee at the restaurant she'd selected for their anniversary dinner. "This is perfect," Amanda had said, examining the ring under the restaurant's lighting. "Exactly what I wanted. We're getting married October 15th at the Driscoll Hotel. I already checked availability." Jake had smiled and nodded. Of course she had. The wedding planning was efficient. Amanda had a spreadsheet, color-coded, with backup options for every vendor. Nothing was left to chance. Jake's job was to show up, agree, and sign checks. "You're so lucky," Amanda's mother told him at one planning meeting. "Most grooms have to do so much more. Amanda's handling everything." Jake nodded. He felt less like a groom and more like a vendor Amanda had hired. But he loved her. He did. She was successful, beautiful, had her life together. She was everything he was supposed to want. Jake met Lily Martinez 6 months before his wedding to Amanda. He was at a coffee shop, stressed about wedding budget spreadsheets, when a woman sat down across from him without asking. "You look like you're either planning a heist or a wedding," she said, gesturing to his laptop covered in vendor estimates. "Wedding," Jake admitted. "My condolences." She grinned. "I'm Lily. I just moved here from California. I don't know anyone, and you looked friendly and sufficiently non-threatening, so I'm adopting you as my first Austin friend. Any objections?" Jake should have said yes. Should have explained he was engaged. Should have politely excused himself. Instead, he laughed. "None at all. I'm Jake." Lily was everything Amanda wasn't. Spontaneous where Amanda was planned. Messy where Amanda was organized. She was a freelance graphic designer who worked from coffee shops and lived in a tiny apartment filled with art supplies and half-finished projects. "I don't believe in 5-year plans," she told him over their third coffee together. "Life's too short. I believe in following joy wherever it leads." They became friends. At least, that's what Jake told himself. They met for coffee twice a week. Then 3 times. Then almost daily. They texted constantly. Funny memes, random observations, late-night conversations about dreams and fears, and all the things Jake couldn't talk to Amanda about because she'd just add them to a spreadsheet and create an action plan. "Tell me about your fiancé," Lily said one evening as they watched sunset from Mount Bonnell. Jake hesitated. "She's great. Really successful. Has everything figured out." "That's not what I asked. I asked about her, not her resume." "I don't know what you mean. Do you love her?" "Of course. But are you in love with her?" Jake didn't answer. Nothing physical happened between Jake and Lily. No kissing, no hand-holding, no crossing of obvious lines. But emotionally, Jake was having a full-blown affair. He found himself lying to Amanda about where he was. Working late became code for having coffee with Lily. Meeting with the guys meant walking around downtown with Lily talking about everything and nothing. Amanda noticed he was distant but attributed it to wedding stress. "It's normal to be overwhelmed," she assured him. "Once we're married, everything will calm down." But Jake didn't want things to calm down. For the first time in his life, he felt alive. Lily made him feel seen in a way Amanda never had. Amanda loved the version of Jake who fit into her plans. Lily loved the version of Jake who stayed up until 2 a.m. talking about whether aliens existed and what he'd do if he could start over. 2 months before the wedding, Lily kissed him. They were in her apartment, watching a movie, sitting closer than friends should sit. She turned to him, and before he could think, her lips were on his. "I'm sorry," she whispered, pulling back. I know you're getting married. I shouldn't have. Don't apologize, Jake said. And he kissed her back. The next morning, Jake woke up in Lily's apartment filled with guilt and clarity. He was in love with Lily, not Amanda. He had to call off the wedding. But when he got home, Amanda was in tears. What's wrong? He asked, panicking. My mom, Amanda sobbed. She has cancer. Stage 3. They just found it. Jake's resolution crumbled. Oh my God, Amanda. I'm so sorry. The wedding is the only thing keeping her going right now. She keeps talking about how she can't wait to see me get married. It's all she's focusing on to get through chemo. Jake held her while she cried, feeling like the worst person in the world. How could he call off the wedding now? Amanda's mother was dying. The wedding was in 8 weeks. The deposits were paid. The invitations were sent. He told himself he'd tell her after the wedding. They'd get married, her mom would be happy, and then he'd find a way to fix things. Meanwhile, Lily was calling and texting. We need to talk about last night. Jake avoided her for 3 days, then finally met her at their usual coffee shop. I can't do this, he said. Amanda's mom is sick. I can't call off the wedding. It would destroy her family. Lily's face fell. So what? You're just going to marry her? While you're in love with me? I don't have a choice. Everyone has a choice, Jake. You're just too scared to make one. She was right. But Jake couldn't see another way. Lily stood up. I'm not going to be your emotional affair while you play husband to someone else. If you marry her, we're done. Lily, please. No, you need to figure out who you are and what you want. And you need to do it before you ruin 3 people's lives. She left. Jake sat there, paralyzed. Over the next 2 weeks, Jake existed in a fog of anxiety and avoidance. He went through the motions with Amanda, cake tasting, final dress fitting, rehearsal dinner planning, but every night, he thought about Lily. Then, a week before the wedding, he did something unforgivably stupid. He was drunk, alone in his apartment, missing Lily, and somehow, in his intoxicated state, he decided the solution to his problem was to propose to Lily too. If he was engaged to both of them, he reasoned with drunk logic, he could keep both relationships alive until he figured out what to do. He wasn't thinking about the logistics. He wasn't thinking at all. He showed up at Lily's apartment at midnight with a ring he'd bought online with overnight shipping, nothing like Amanda's carefully selected diamond, just a simple band he could afford on his credit card. Jake? Lily opened the door in pajamas, confused. What are you doing here? I love you, he blurted out. I know I'm messed up. I know I'm engaged to someone else. But I'm in love with you. And I can't marry Amanda without you knowing that. You're drunk. I'm honest. He pulled out the ring box. Marry me. Lily stared at him. Are you serious right now? Completely. I'll figure everything out. I'll tell Amanda. I'll cancel the wedding. Just say yes. And God help her. Lily, who was just as messed up and in love as Jake, said yes. Jake woke up the next morning with a hangover and a creeping sense of horror. What had he done? He checked his phone. Text from Lily. Good morning, fiancé. Red heart emoji. We need to talk about telling Amanda. His other phone, the one Amanda didn't know about, where he kept his Lily conversations, was full of messages he'd bought a second phone 3 months ago to keep his affair organized, which should have been a red flag that he was in too deep. He needed to tell Amanda, today, before this spiraled further. But when he went to Amanda's place, her whole family was there. Her mother, frail from chemo, was showing off Amanda's wedding dress to relatives who'd flown in early. Jake. Amanda's mom pulled him into a hug. One more week. I'm so happy I'm going to be here to see this. Jake felt sick. He pulled Amanda aside. Can we talk? Alone? Later. My family's here. Plus, we need to finalize the seating chart. 2 couples just RSVP yes. Amanda, it's important. So is the seating chart. You know how particular Uncle Chen is about being away from Aunt Susan? She kissed his cheek. You're being so patient. I love you. Jake chickened out. Again. What Jake should have done. Come clean immediately. Cancel one or both weddings. Face the consequences. What Jake actually did, nothing. He told Lily he'd tell Amanda soon. He told Amanda he was stressed about work when she asked why he was distant. He lived in a state of constant panic, juggling 2 fiancés, 2 sets of plans, 2 completely separate futures. Lily wanted to plan their wedding. Something small, she said. Just us and a few friends. Maybe at that little vineyard outside of town? I don't need a big production like some people. The dig at Amanda wasn't lost on Jake. "Let's wait until after next week," Jake said. "I need to tell Amanda first." "You've been saying that for days." "I know. I will. I promise." Meanwhile, Amanda's wedding was 5 days away. The rehearsal dinner was in 3 days. Relatives were flying in from 3 countries. The Driscoll Hotel was prepared. 300 guests were coming. Jake had nightmare visions of standing at the altar, seeing both women walk down the aisle toward him, and having to choose in front of everyone. But he still didn't cancel anything. Here's where Jake's cowardice reached its peak of absurdity. 3 days before Amanda's wedding, Lily asked, "Have you told her yet?" "Soon. I promise." "Right after the wedding but after?" Lily stared at him. "You're still going through with it?" "Just the ceremony." "Her mom." "This is insane, Jake. You can't marry her." "I'm not. I mean, I will, but then I'll..." "Stop. Just stop." Lily stood up. They were in her apartment. "I can't do this. If you marry her, we're done. For real this time." "Lily, please." "I'm serious. You marry Amanda on Saturday, you'll never see me again." Jake panicked. He couldn't lose Lily, but he couldn't cancel Amanda's wedding 3 days before. So drunk Jake returned, and he made the single worst decision of his life. "What if we got married first?" he heard himself say. "What? Right now? Today? We could go to the courthouse, get legally married. Then when I marry Amanda on Saturday, it'll just be ceremonial, not real. And afterwards, I'll tell her everything." Even in his panicked state, Jake knew this was insane. But the words kept coming. "That way you'd know I'm serious. That I choose you. And Amanda's mom gets to see the ceremony before." He couldn't finish that sentence. Lily should have said no. Should have recognized this as the red flag festival it was. But she was young, in love, and Jake was convincing when he was desperate. "You promise you'll tell her right after?" "Immediately. I swear." "And we're really married? Legally?" "Yes. You'd be my wife. My real wife." Lily nodded slowly. "Okay, let's do it." They went to the courthouse that afternoon. 45 minutes later, they were legally married. Jake was now married to Lily and engaged to Amanda, whose wedding was in 3 days. The next 2 days were a blur of wedding activities Jake couldn't escape. The rehearsal dinner, the bachelor party his groomsmen threw, the final venue walkthrough with Amanda, all while he was legally married to someone else. "You seem off," Amanda said the night before the wedding. "Are you okay?" "Just nervous," Jake lied. "It's normal. Tomorrow's going to be perfect. Everything we planned." Jake nodded, hating himself. He'd been texting Lily, who was growing increasingly anxious. "You're going through with it? The actual ceremony?" "Just the ceremony. It doesn't mean anything. I'm married to you." "This is so messed up, Jake." "I know. Last time. I promise. Tomorrow after the ceremony, I'll tell her everything." "You better." October 15th dawned bright and clear. Perfect wedding weather. Jake stood in the groom's suite at the Driscoll Hotel, getting ready with his groomsmen, feeling like he was about to throw up. "Dude, you look terrible," his best man said. "You're not getting cold feet, are you?" "No, just nervous." "Don't be. Amanda's amazing. You're lucky." Jake nodded, fixing his tie with shaking hands. His phone buzzed. "Lily, I know you're busy, but I love you. See you on the other side of this nightmare." Then his other phone buzzed. "Amanda. Can't wait to marry you." 2 women, both thinking they were going to be his wife by the end of the day. One already legally was. The ceremony was scheduled for 3 p.m. Jake took his place at the altar, looking out at 300 guests. Amanda's family in the front row, her mother crying happy tears despite her illness. The music started. The bridesmaids walked down the aisle. Everything was happening exactly as planned. Then Amanda appeared at the back of the ballroom in her white dress, and Jake felt his chest constrict. She looked beautiful, happy, completely unaware that her fiancé was already married to someone else. She started down the aisle, and then, the doors at the back of the ballroom burst open. Lily stood in the doorway. She was wearing a white dress, not a wedding dress, but wide enough to make her intentions clear. Her hair was done. She'd put on makeup. She looked like a bride. The music stopped. Everyone turned. "I object," Lily said, her voice shaking but loud enough to carry. Amanda froze halfway down the aisle. "What the hell?" "I'm sorry," Lily said, looking at Jake. "I couldn't let you do this." The officiant looked confused. "Ma'am, we haven't gotten to the objection part yet." "Who is she?" Amanda demanded, looking at Jake. Jake couldn't speak, couldn't move. His worst nightmare was happening in real time. "I'm his wife," Lily said. The ballroom erupted. Gasps, shouts, confusion. Amanda's mother stood up, looking like she might faint. Amanda dropped her bouquet. What did she just say? Amanda's voice was deadly quiet. "Amanda?" Jake finally found his voice. "What did she just say?" Lily walked down the aisle toward them, pulling out her phone. "We got married 3 days ago. At the courthouse. I have the certificate." She held up her phone, showing a photo of their marriage certificate. Crystal clear. Legal. Dated 3 days ago. Amanda turned to Jake. "Is this true?" Jake nodded, unable to lie anymore. Yes. The silence that followed was deafening. What happened next was chaos. Amanda ripped off her veil and threw it at Jake. "You married someone else 3 days before our wedding? I can explain." "Explain?" Amanda was screaming now, tears streaming down her face. "You married her while I was finalizing our seating chart. While my mother is dying and counting down to this day." Amanda's father stood up. "You son of a..." He started toward Jake, held back by relatives. Lily was crying too. "Jake, you said you'd tell her before." "Before what?" Amanda whirled on Lily. "Before he went through with a fake wedding? Were you okay with that?" "No. I mean," he said. Lily was sobbing now. "I thought he'd cancel. I didn't know you'd all be here. I didn't know." "You didn't know?" Amanda's mother's voice cut through the chaos. She looked so frail, so devastated. "My daughter has been planning this for 18 months. She's been stressed and perfect and so happy. And you." She looked at Jake with such disappointment. "You let her get all the way to the altar?" Jake was crying now too. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't know how to." "How to what? Be a decent human being?" Amanda's maid of honor stepped forward. "Get out, both of you, before we call the police." "Amanda, please." Jake tried to approach her. "Don't." Amanda held up her hand, her voice breaking. "Don't you dare come near me. Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't exist in my world ever again." She turned to the guests, somehow finding composure even through her tears. "I'm so sorry you came all this way. There's a reception dinner paid for downstairs. Please, go enjoy it. This wedding is canceled." She walked back down the aisle, her bridesmaids rushing to support her. The ballroom emptied quickly, guests murmuring, shocked, some taking photos. Jake stood at the altar, destroyed. Lily stood a few feet away, equally shattered. They'd both gotten exactly what they deserved. The hotel manager appeared, furious. "You need to leave. Now. You're trespassing." Jake and Lily were escorted out through a service entrance to avoid the lobby full of wedding guests. They stood in the parking lot in their wedding attire, his tuxedo, her white dress, like the world's most pathetic couple. "What did we do?" Lily whispered. "I don't know," Jake said. But that was a lie. He knew exactly what they'd done. They'd been selfish, cowardly, and cruel. "We should go home," Lily said. "Figure this out." But when they got to Lily's apartment, the reality set in. They were married, legally, but the wedding had been built on lies, manipulation, and cowardice. "Do you even love me?" Lily asked suddenly. "Or was I just your escape from Amanda?" "I love you," Jake said automatically. "But do you? Or do you just love the idea of me? The spontaneous, fun alternative to your planned-out life?" Jake didn't have an answer. They spent that night in separate rooms. By Sunday morning, the story had gone viral. Someone at the wedding had filmed Lily's entrance and posted it online. 2 brides at one wedding was trending. The video had millions of views. The comments were brutal. "He married someone else 3 days before? That's next level awful. Both women deserve better than this coward. Imagine being Amanda. My heart breaks for her." Also though, Lily knew he was engaged. They're both trash. Jake's phone was blowing up. Messages from friends, family, former coworkers. Everyone had seen it. His mother called, crying. "How could you do this? To Amanda? To her poor mother?" He had no answers. Amanda had changed her Facebook status to survived and posted a photo of herself at the canceled reception with her bridesmaids, all of them holding champagne. The caption, "Turns out my wedding was actually a divorce party. From a man I never want to see again. Cheers to dodging bullets." It had 50,000 likes. A week after the wedding disaster, Lily told Jake she wanted an annulment. "We got married for the wrong reasons," she said. "You were running from Amanda. and I was so desperate to be chosen that I ignored every red flag. We can make this work, Jake protested weakly. Can we? Really? Lily looked at him. Jake, we've been married for 10 days, and we've barely talked. We're living like roommates who hate each other. This isn't love. This is consequence. She was right. The magic they'd had in coffee shops and late-night conversations had evaporated the moment reality hit. I'm not the person you thought I was, Jake admitted. I'm not spontaneous and fun. I'm a coward who can't make decisions. I hurt everyone I touch. Yeah, Lily said sadly. You do. And I need to not be one of those people anymore. They filed for annulment 3 weeks after getting married, on the grounds of fraud, which was accurate. The whole thing had been fraudulent from the start. Jake moved back in with his parents at 32 years old. He'd lost his job. The viral video had made him a liability to company culture. He'd lost his apartment, couldn't afford it without a job. He'd lost both women he'd claimed to love. And he'd lost himself in the process. His mother made him see a therapist. You need help, she said. What you did, that's not normal. That's not okay. Dr. Patterson was kind but direct. Tell me what happened. Jake told him everything. The whole pathetic story. Why didn't you just break up with Amanda when you realized you had feelings for Lily? I don't know. Yes, you do. Jake thought about it. Because I couldn't face disappointing her. Couldn't face being the bad guy. So instead, you became a worse guy by trying not to be a bad guy. Yeah. Jake, do you understand that you didn't love either of these women? What? No, I did. You loved the way they made you feel about yourself. Amanda made you feel stable and successful. Lily made you feel exciting and free. But you never actually saw them as real people with their own needs and feelings. They were mirrors reflecting the versions of yourself you wanted to be. That hit Jake like a truck. I'm a narcissist? Not quite. But you're profoundly conflict avoidant and people-pleasing to the point of sociopathy. You'll hurt people catastrophically to avoid the discomfort of an honest conversation. Jake started crying. How do I fix this? You don't. Not immediately. It takes work. A lot of work. And you need to accept that some things can't be fixed. 6 months after the wedding, Jake saw Amanda's engagement announcement on social media. She was engaged to Marcus, her co-worker from the law firm. The photo showed them hiking, both in casual clothes, laughing. No staged poses. No elaborate ring shot. Just two people happy together. The caption, he asked. I said yes. And I actually know him this time. Jake felt a complex mix of emotions. Relief that she'd moved on. Sadness that he'd hurt her so badly. And surprisingly, genuine happiness for her. He'd written her countless apology letters but never sent them. Dr. Patterson had advised against it. She doesn't owe you forgiveness. And reaching out would be about making you feel better, not her. So Jake had worked on himself instead. Stayed in therapy. Got a new job. Lower level, but honest. Started rock climbing, which terrified him, which was the point. Learned to sit with discomfort instead of running from it. He saw Amanda once, a year after the wedding, at a coffee shop downtown. She was with Marcus, both of them in workout clothes, clearly heading to or from a run. Jake thought about approaching her, apologizing in person. But Dr. Patterson's voice stopped him. What would that accomplish except making you feel better? So he watched her laugh at something Marcus said, saw how relaxed she looked, how genuinely happy, and he left through the back door. That was his apology. Leaving her alone. Letting her heal without reopening wounds. Lily moved to Portland a year after the annulment. Started over completely. New city, new life, new identity as someone who'd learned a hard lesson about compromising values for love. She started a blog about the experience, anonymous, but detailed. Confessions of an Accidental Homewrecker became surprisingly popular. People related to her story of being so desperate for love that she ignored her own moral compass. One post read, I knew he was engaged. I knew it was wrong. But he made me feel special in a way no one else had. And I convinced myself that if he loved me enough to risk everything, it must be real love. Spoiler, it wasn't. Real love doesn't ask you to compromise your integrity. Real love doesn't require someone else to be destroyed. I learned that the hard way. The comments were mixed. Some people sympathized. Others called her a homewrecker who got what she deserved. Both were probably right. 2 years after everything fell apart, Lily met someone new. A teacher named David who knew her whole story before their first date. That's a lot of baggage, he said. It is, Lily agreed. I understand if it's too much. Actually, I respect that you owned it. That you learned from it. We've all got messy pasts. At least yours made you a better person. They took it slow. Painfully slow. But it was real, built on honesty. And Lily finally understood the difference between passion and love. 3 years after the wedding disaster, Jake ran into Lily at an airport. Both connecting through Denver, both seeing the other across the terminal. They stood there for a moment, unsure whether to approach or pretend they hadn't seen each other. Finally, Lily walked over. Hi, Jake said. How are you? Good. Really good, actually. You? Better. Not great, but better. They sat at a coffee shop, and for the first time since everything fell apart, they talked honestly. I'm sorry, Jake said. For everything. For using you as an escape. For not being honest. For dragging you into my mess. I'm sorry too, Lily said. I knew you were engaged. I convinced myself I was the victim. But I made choices too. Bad ones. Are you happy now? Yeah, I am. I'm with someone. David. He's nothing like you. Which is probably good. She smiled. You? Single. Probably will be for a while. I'm still working on being a person worth dating. That's good. Self-awareness looks good on you. They talked for an hour, until Lily's flight was boarding. It was closure neither of them knew they needed. I hope you find what you're looking for, Lily said, hugging him goodbye. You too, Jake said. Even though she clearly already had. Amanda married Marcus 2 years after the cancelled wedding. Small ceremony, 20 people, at a vineyard. Her mother was there, in remission, healthy enough to dance at the reception. During her vows, Amanda said, Marcus, you've taught me that love isn't about perfect planning or checking boxes. It's about showing up honestly, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Marcus had been there when she'd fallen apart after Jake, had listened to her cry, had helped her process the betrayal, had never once pressured her to move on before she was ready. I knew I loved him, Amanda told her maid of honor the morning of her wedding, when I told him about the worst day of my life. Standing at that altar, finding out Jake was married to someone else, and instead of trying to fix it or make me feel better, he just said, that must have been absolutely devastating. He let me be hurt without trying to minimize it. At her reception, Amanda's mother pulled her aside. I'm so glad that other wedding didn't happen. Me too, Mom. Jake wasn't right for you. He was right for your checklist. But Marcus is right for your heart. Amanda hugged her mother, grateful beyond words that she'd survived to see this day. The real day. The honest one. 5 years after the wedding disaster, the video went viral again. A TikToker had found it and created a Where Are They Now series. The comments were fascinating. Okay, but imagine being Amanda. All that planning, 300 guests, and your fiancé is married to someone else. The fact that he got married 3 days before and still showed up to the altar is actually insane. Both women deserved better. But also Lily knew he was engaged? They're both messy. This is why communication matters. Just break up with people instead of marrying someone else? I need a full documentary on this. Netflix. Get on it. Jake saw it. So did Lily. So did Amanda. Jake's response? No comment. He'd learned that some stories don't need his input. Lily's response on her blog? Yes, that was me. Yes, I'm deeply ashamed. Yes, I've learned from it. No, I won't be giving interviews. Amanda's response on Instagram? Throwback to the best thing that never happened. Thank you to my ex-fiancé for showing his true colors before I made a legally binding mistake. Currently celebrating 3 years with my actual husband. The comments on Amanda's post were universally supportive. Queen energy. Dodged a bullet. Your actual wedding photos are gorgeous. Eventually. But Jake, you need to accept that might be part of your story forever. The question isn't whether people forget. It's whether you've learned and grown from it. Have I? What do you think? Jake thought about the person he'd been 6 years ago. The conflict-avoidant, people-pleasing coward who'd rather destroy lives than have an uncomfortable conversation. He thought about the person he was now. Still flawed. Still in progress. But honest. Finally, painfully honest. Yeah, he said. I think I have. Sometimes the worst thing you can do is try to make everyone happy. Sometimes the kindest thing is to be honest, even when it hurts. And sometimes, the person you hurt most by lying is yourself.